Felix here, and welcome to this pre-market live stream. It's so good that the market's back, isn't it? I want to walk you through, and you might have just seen my very special tea cozy. Look at this guy. And I want to walk you through what really matters today. What I'm buying, what we're doing, the 7 sectors that are actually outperforming the market right now, and explain why pretty much anything except for tech is going up at the moment, and then really understand why, because that really matters. That'll drive everything in your full understanding of the market. And then I want to give you the 4 stocks that I'm buying, and I'll explain to you why and how and that sort of thing. And if this is going to be useful for you, do you think this is going to be useful? Perhaps run through these 4 things. Let me know in the chat. Write useful, or a smiley, or a heart, or something of that sort. Even just a 1 if you're a Spartan. And I've also asked you in the poll here, when will you sit down and learn to become a great investor? And to my enormous delight, 68% of you wrote today, and I love you for that. And I kind of knew that that's what the room would be here, because the people who said next week, someday, not sure, which is basically all someday, right? It's all the same answer, just phrased slightly differently. Once you realize that the people who are amazing investors are kind of the same as you, they have the same background as you, they have the same schooling as you, they come from the same places as you. Once that sinks in, and that they're not these super whiz kids, what's actually preventing you from becoming that amazing investor? Well, it's up here. It's a lack of skills, right? It's a lack of knowledge, and I want to give you a lot of that here today, because what's the worst time to implement something? Next week, someday, or if you're not sure. The one-day thing, the someday thing, basically is the worst time. Someday I'll go to the gym. Some people say they're usually overweight. Maybe you're thinking, I'm a bit busy right now. And that's literally the path to absolutely nowhere. And I know that isn't the vast majority of the room here, which is what I love you for. But why do those people actually do that? I think about that quite a lot. And the answer to that, in my humble opinion, is that we're afraid of change. What's on the other side of that fear? What's on the other side of that change, right? And you ever done something like jumped off somewhere and it was really scary at first, and you did it and you landed in the water and you were like, that was amazing, let's do it again, right? Because it was that easy. And once you say like, what, 16% of you here said not sure, or 15% of you here said next week, once you say that, this outcome that you want, becoming an amazing investor, making your money work for you so you don't have to go to work, right? You can wake up whenever you want, it no longer becomes real. So when's the best time to do it? That 68% of you said now, because it's not a question of when, but it's then a question of how. That's a huge mindset shift of, am I going to do this? Or, this is actually something I can definitely do. It's just a question of, how do I figure this out? And let me say this again. Successful traders and investors are not smarter than you. I met a lot of bankers in my day. They are not that smart. They just decided that enough is enough, and they got stuck in. And it's the same for every retail investor out there. So, long story short, I want to give you the opportunity to make it now, and to learn now, and to understand why I'm buying those 4 stocks that I'm going to buy today. And for that, I'm running a live masterclass, 2 hours of unadulterated teaching. And you can join me on Thursday morning, right after this live stream. So literally in 2 days, 10 a.m. And how do you get there? You go to felixprehn.org/webinar. Link is down below. Link is also down below in the description. And here it is. I will also run you through what I think is the best trade in the world and how that really works. And we might actually set one up together on the live stream. I was very happy to do that. And it's the one trade that I've opened every week, every month, every part of the year. I have that trade open, and it makes us money all the freaking time. So best time to try to plant a fruit tree is 25 years ago. Second best time is today, says Garden Therapy. You're precisely right. Like, I just bought a property, and the first thing I'm thinking about is, when are we going to plant the avocado trees? Because it takes a bloody long time for them to fruit. So precisely my thought. If you want the outcome you want, if you want to have the freedom you want, you got to take action now. So who's going to come and join me on Thursday? Join probably about 1,000 to 2,000 people at felixprehn.org/webinar. Let me know in the chat. Just say put now in there, and I'll know that you're going to be joining me at felixprehn.org/webinar, and I'll break down exactly what we do and how we do it, as well as what I think is the best trade in the world by far. So best time to buy back now. Alpha says, I'll try and join. Now, the word try is banned in my household, completely banned. Alpha Charlie is joining me, Nicholas is joining me, JJ is joining me, Michael is joining me, Jim is joining, Jinx is joining, brilliant. Nowish, Alpha Charlie is also never, by the way. Rufus, Kyra, Ninja, you're all joining, brilliant. Peaceful, Bradley, amazing. Okay, I'll see you guys all there, we're gonna have a blast. Now, some people are gonna scare you and try and scare you out of the position that you are in by showing you this. S&P Shiller Cape ratio, basically saying that stocks are insanely overvalued and therefore everything must collapse and you should panic and you know, dig a hole in the garden sort of type thing. It's basically saying that, yeah, stocks are trading slightly below the what was that, 2001.com bubble valuation. Pay no attention. That's what I say. This stuff doesn't matter, honestly. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't take into account a lot of the good stuff that I'm going to show you in a second, because Brent says there's no try. Either do it or do not. We're going to get on, you and me, Brent. Andre is also joining us. Jason's joining us. Amazing. Keep putting that in there. And yeah, let me show you a couple of things here. So there are 7 sectors that have beaten the S&P performance so far this year. What are those 7 sectors? Can you see it? Can you see it? Can you hear it? It's not tech, no. It's communications, it's materials, it's energy, it's utilities, it's industrials. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, financials and healthcare. And who's actually done the best? Comms and financials, they've done the best. What hasn't beaten the index is technology. So why the heck are tech stocks not going up? Isn't that the one thing that we love and adore? Brent, I appreciate you too, my friend. Well, let me show you a couple of reasons why we're bullish and why we don't care much for the doomers and gloomers out there who give you cheap headlines. The percentage of stocks with positive earnings per share growth, which is ultimately what matters. Is the company making more money per share? Right? That is at a pretty freaking high level. If you draw a line across here, right? Extraordinarily high. And that's a very good thing, and that's why prices are up, and that's why this Shiller nonsense doesn't matter. Now, since last summer, middle of last summer, July 10th, what's done really, really well? Tech is down. Tech's done nothing. Look at NVIDIA, look at the big tech stocks. They've done absolutely bugger all, right? What's done really, really well? Financials. Remember mentioning it to you, it was the tail end of last year that I was opening financial stock positions, stuff like FOA, for example, which is up like 180% or something like that. Well, so what do we do about that? What do we do about this kind of, and why is this happening? Why are tech stocks not doing what we want them to do? Well, let me show you why. This is really important to understand this, and feel free to take screenshots or write notes, not because you want to read those notes, but just because it makes it sink in more. You actually remember it. The Magnificent Seven, so the biggest top tech stocks, and well, they normally outperform. They normally do better than what we expect them to do. What have they done in the last quarter? They did not outperform. They did exactly as expected. Which isn't terrible, it isn't horrible, it isn't the end of the world, it isn't enough to climb on that ledge and jump off it. But it's also not the gloriousness that we've had from 2013 to the end of 2024, sorry, 2023 and 2024. So does that make some sense to you? If that makes some sense to you, put a 1 in the chat if that makes some sense. Just write the number 1 if it makes some sense. If it makes no sense, put a 2 in there, right? No, if it makes some sense. So I can see that you are... you're listening and it's helpful. Maroswitz, you also joining me? Brilliant. I'll see you on Thursday, my friend. But here is a bit more. The earnings growth, okay, I'm seeing a lot of ones coming through. They're amazing. Thank you, guys. The Magnificent Seven, which are in blue here, these are the Mag 7. And then in gray down there, we have the S&P 493, so the other, the rest, right? The riffraff. And for the last 2 years, the Mag 7s have massively outperformed in terms of profit generation, everything else out there. Now in 2025, we expect that gap to narrow, right? You see how big the gap was here in 2023 and then here in 2024. Now this year, we're expecting it to be only this little sort of box there, only a 7% gap, 7%. And then in 2026, we expect it to be only a 4% gap. Why? Well, the Mag 7 are not growing quite as quickly and the rest of the market is catching up. And therefore, there is a broadening of this rally, which is not a bad thing. It's just what happens. Like something leads, everything catches up. So if we just keep our money in the Mag 7 for the next 2 years, we're not likely to see the same beautiful results we've seen for the last 2 years. Does that make some sense to you? It does. Keep the ones coming so I know that it is. Mark Smith, I like your comment there. Lots of ones there from Drew. Brilliant. So useful, right? And again, you might want to take a screenshot of that because that's a really, really important piece of data that's going to underpin everything that's going to happen here in the next few months. So what else is mainstream media then telling you to run out and buy? They're telling you to buy the German stocks. I am German born, 100%. I can't deny it. I try to wash it off. It doesn't. And the German stock index, the DAX, has actually done tremendously well, despite a rubbish economy and the worst people in the world to run the country. And a lot of that has been, well, companies do quite well in war times. That's usually how it works, which is perhaps where we have it, but that's another conversation. So should you buy that up here? Should you now buy the German stock index, the DAX? I would argue not, because I would argue that it's probably overbought, which is what the RSI thing here says to me. Last time we were this overbought was here in March 2024, and we came down and we sort of went sideways. And then, yes, we went up some more, it's true. That I'm not a huge fan, to be honest with you. Then you have KWEB, which is up 30% since January, which is pretty impressive. But it's also pretty overbought. And who knows if that's gonna go up some more, maybe short squeeze up a little bit more. But again, it isn't what I'm buying. Felix for president, that's very kind of you, but no, thank you. I do not want to live in that drafty place they call Berlin. And what about financials? Yeah, I'm liking financials more. Financials have done very, very, very well since the end of last year. Tremendous rally up here. This is an index called the XLF. It's an ETF, has all the banks in it and that sort of stuff. We got a breakout here in November, and we got the usual dip after that, and then we're going up very, very nicely. So financials doing very well. Put money into XLF or something like that, but again, not a trade recommendation. And even the unprofitable tech rubbish is floating to the top. ARK is back, like the Backstreet Boys. And we had our first breakout here in about 28 years, at least felt that long in November. And we're still seeing a pretty nice trajectory here, especially in the last 2 days. So this actually would probably be not such a bad thing to buy, even though you might dislike ARK. Make Hamburg the capital. Would that be an improvement? I'm actually from Hamburg. It's pretty windy and cold. I always wonder why people live there. There are worse places to live, but still, I don't really get, and this is going to be offensive to most Europeans, I don't really get why people live in Northern Europe. For me, it's just too cold. Maybe I'm weaker than everybody else. Maybe that's it. Maybe you guys are just made of stronger stuff. It's entirely possible. So if you are made of stronger stuff, then come and join me on Thursday, and I'll teach you how we make money as stock investors in less than 2 hours a week. How we follow a system, how we buy and know when to buy, and how we know when to sell, and how we automate the whole thing. And I'll teach you on top of that, literally what I think is the best trade in the world, and which is a little complex, but in fairness, the stock stuff's pretty easy, but that there is a bit complex. But I want to show you sort of the light, nirvana, what can be achieved if you put a little bit of elbow grease into it, and it's completely free, and it'll be super fun. And you join me on here, felixprehn.org/webinar. Fox, my friend, could we get a link in here, and I'll pin it to the top to the masterclass. I saw you out there somewhere. It's -3 degrees in Sweden now. Oh dear, it's about 22 degrees here, and I'm wearing a neck scarf and a jacket. So yeah, I don't think I'm made for that. I like skiing, and then I like it cold. I don't mind because you're geared up for it. But generally speaking, I can't handle it. Audio keeps cutting in and out. Is that happening for anybody else? Let me know. We try to do something about that. Fox Gaming, love you for that. Thank you. I've just pinned the masterclass to the top of the chat, so you guys can click on that. Antoinette, I need to learn how to set a stop after I buy. Come and join me on Thursday. I'll teach you, Antoinette, completely for free. Links down below, felixprehn.org/webinar. See, the idiots at the beginning who were telling you about, thanks, audio is fine for most of you. Okay, good. Okay, great. Remember they're saying stocks are overvalued? Well, the profit margins of tech stocks and non-tech stocks are going up and going up, which is the reason why stocks are going up. So really watch this. You just want to watch our profit margins rising. Now, what's making top profit margins go up? AI. For a couple of you, the audio is cutting out. Interesting. Iratina, did you hack my little presentation? We get to that in a second. For some of you, I'm breaking up. Weird, very weird. We'll see what we can do about that. But at the moment, on my end, it seems fine. The microphone is breaking. Must be a network issue. Sometimes YouTube has an issue in certain countries. We've had that before. That could be it. But maybe go back a minute in the video, see if that makes it any better. Interesting. Interesting. All right, we shall soldier on with the audio as it is. So, what am I buying? Well, social media is absolutely ablaze. I blame Winston. Oh, you can't blame Winston. Winston, come on. You're being blamed. Winston, come. Let's ask Winston about the audio issues. Winston, did you do something with the mic? Did you? I think he seems innocent. He's hiding behind the sofa. I don't think it was him. So, Grab, right? First thing is social media is ablaze with Grab over the weekend, and you might think that doesn't matter, but what makes the market go up in the short term? Is it the fundamentals? Is it amazing management? Is it profit margins or any of that? No. Our American friends confirm that audio is good for you. The Brits, you're censoring it. Well, you probably should. So it's all sentiment in the short term. That's basically what moves the stock price in the short term. It's sentiment, how people are feeling about it. People are feeling really, really excited about Grab over the weekend. Now, what is Grab? I was actually using it last week. I was in Malaysia, and it's all Grab there. There is no Uber. There's only Grab. Now, they're a ride-hailing delivery company, much like Uber. They have partnerships with MasterCard and Toyota. Uber owns, I thought 27, but I think it's actually only 13.5. It could be a stock split thing, maybe. Now, it says here, no big news recently, but I think social media definitely seems to be otherwise inclined. We are also getting out earnings on the 20th. That's probably the biggest risk to this. But if you look at the actual stock chart, and I've got it open here, here's Grab. We've had, let me put in some lines here. So we had a breakout here in October. We had a breakout here in November, right? We topped, we did that sort of thing, and then we kind of collapsed. We went back down to $4.30. And right now, we've managed to break not just above the yellow 50-day moving average line there, but it's done something extraordinary pre-market, which is it's up like 12% or something like that, right? So it's trading up here right now, which is amazing, which is the highest that we've seen. Now, I would expect that to come in with some serious volume because that's pretty much all anybody talked about on social media all weekend. So I think this could be something. Now, just before earnings, that's a risky play, but it could be an interesting one. So this looks pretty good from a chart point of view. That's what I'm saying. Now, you could wait a day to see whether it settles. You could wait till after earnings to see how that turns out. That would be a lower risk approach for sure. But I'm quite liking the way this looks. Pretty interesting setup. We're now taking out all the highs here. So that's grab for you, right? I think it's an interesting one. I don't think I will hold this in the long run, by the way, if you're asking this. It's just something I want to possibly buy and make some money out of. That doesn't mean you should do the same thing. Audio is annoying in the US. So weird. Why is that? Let's see if I can move this mic a little bit up, maybe. Does that make it any better? Very odd, my friends. An actual worthwhile penny stock, sort of, yes. Well, I mean, Uber owns a fair chunk of it. The MasterCard Toyota thing, I think, is pretty big. And why does Uber own some of it? Well, they exited those markets and they got a share of Grab instead, which I think was probably good. Audio is fine there. Okay, brilliant. Closed and reopened the YouTube app. Thanks very much, my friends, for the tech support. What about the next one? Wood. Right? Earnings were stellar. Really amazing. I mean, really, really, really amazing. ARK sold, which I think might actually be a positive thing. There is a bit of regulatory risk, but I think actually the regulation is broadly beneficial. Now, Hoods isn't a bank, so they won't benefit that much from the regulatory improvements, and it means there's going to be more competition because your other banks will be able to, hold crypto as well. But I think they're doing a very, very, very good job. Very good job. The number of people they have on their gold premium service is also insane. And if you look at the stock chart, which is where I always look to understand what's actually going on, you don't need to know pretty much anything about a stock if you can read the stock chart. And we had a breakout here on Thursday. On Friday, we closed higher than the Thursday, which is important. Slightly above the resistance. Today, again, we're trading slightly higher than that. Volume was pretty impressive for you guys who understand what I'm talking about. If you watched a masterclass of mine before, if you don't, then come and join me on Thursday, and I will explain why I'm drawing a zigzaggedy line there. And you still be literally, it's like seeing the matrix once you understand it. It's just extraordinary once you understand it. So I'm liking it. Would it have been better to buy it in October or in November? Well, yes, but as our friend here said earlier, the best time to plant a fruit tree was 25 years ago or today. I'm liking this particular breakout here. The financial sector is doing very, very well. So I'm liking Wood right now. Here's another one. OSCR. This is another one that's all over social media right now. An insurance thing, sort of health insurance thing. Michael Burry and Soros are invested. Kushner family is involved, so couldn't possibly get any worse. Which might be a good thing. But yeah, we're going to get some health insurance reform, and I think these kind of AI health insurers could do quite well out of it. Earnings were not tremendous. There's obviously some risks there, but let's have a look at the actual stock chart. And how's that look? How does that look for you? Would you buy that right now? No. I'd add this to my watch list, and that's exactly what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to add this to my watch list because at the moment it's a falling knife. And if it bounces off here the $13 and then it does that, then at the point where we exceed this line here, I'd be very, very interested. But right now I'm not. But it's an interesting one, I think, to add to the watch list because I think they could benefit tremendously. Thanks, guys, for all the no's there. If you lose some of my words, my friend, just close your YouTube and do it again. That seems to work for everybody else. which is good. Now, who was it who mentioned NBIS in the chat earlier? You must have hacked my phone today or something, or you just read my mind. Well, NVIDIA took a stake in it, which is a huge boost. There is definitely some downside risk with these kind of things. It's a company that used to be called Yandex, which is a Dutch company that had Russian involvement. They had to de-Ruskify themselves because of the war in Ukraine. They've done that, and they've rebranded as the Nebius Group, which sounds sort of slightly evil, doesn't it? It's actually a pretty good business. So it's an AI play. They run AI data centers essentially, and they do so in Europe, which I think is an interesting one. And it's blowing up. On Friday, we had very, very significant volume. Right now, we're trading really nicely above where we were on Friday. That blue line I drew in there would be sort of the line I want to buy above. So it's looking pretty impressive, I must say. I'm quite liking this one. And then you have the NVIDIA story, obviously. Was once trading at about double what it was trading at. So that'll be the lid on the party, somewhere between $70 and $80. But it could be a nice little play to participate in the present sort of tier 2 AI rally there. Sounds nebulous. And yes, earnings are coming up as well. And again, might be something you want to wait for. I'm not saying that you shouldn't. Next on the list is Archer. And we nibbled on Archer last week. I think I've got 5,000 shares of that now. Japan Airlines announced they're going to buy $500 million worth of that Midnight aircraft that they have. They have Stellantis United Airlines partnerships. But what I'm actually excited about is the US government business about to come in. And guess what? We received literally an hour ago the FAA certification to launch our pilot training academy. Archer can now train and qualify pilots part of our new academy. We now have airline operations permits, maintenance permits, pilot training academy service, and we're also already in the process of earning our Part 142 certificate, which is the fourth and final certification we need to launch air taxi operations once Midnight received its type certification. And I think this is all going to get tremendously accelerated because the US military wants these planes. And that's happening. And there is also a new patent filed for a different name, which was, can't remember what it's called right now. I'll put it in a video that I'll make on Archer in the coming days. So I'm really, really liking this particular setup here. And I thought I was a little early into ACHR. But I think I probably wasn't in hindsight. That purple line here was sort of the line I draw, and I'll teach you how to draw that on Thursday. We got that big, beautiful candle there. Volume was picking up. And we've had a very nice run on Friday, again, significant volume. And today we're jumping up just 5% right now. Actually, about 10% above the market from Friday, 10% up pre-market. So I'm liking this. I think Archer is going to have a bit of a run. And I think the retail gang is going to jump all over this one because it's a good story. It's a very good story. So I am liking this right now. So that's what I'm looking at. Now, what I want you to do is not blindly buy anything that anybody on social media or YouTube or anywhere tells you about, because that's gambling. Let's be honest, right? It's just like you're just hoping somebody else is right, unless you know why you're buying it. What's your rules for entry and where is your exit? I never buy something unless I've already decided when to sell it. Like, that's really, really, really important. And I'll teach you that on Thursday if you join me. Unless you have written rules for your investing, you're basically gambling. And in the last couple of years, it's worked relatively well because a lot of things have gone up a lot. But that isn't always the case. And you've probably gotten burned, and you're probably not as consistent as you'd like to be. And you're probably missing out on great, big, fat, profitable opportunities every bloody day. If you no longer want to miss out on great, big, fat, profitable opportunities every single day, come and join me on Thursday at felixprehn.org/webinar, and I'll teach you live exactly how my rule-based system works, how I learned it as a former banker, and how I'm still learning and improving it forever after with all of my mentors who've done this for decades longer than me, because some of them are twice as old as me. So hard to catch up. And it'll be fun, it'll be free, and it'll be jam-packed full with those rules, and you'll walk away with them. So I'll literally give you the rule book, and you will have that forever after. Jinx says you've been burned for sure, and that makes you human. Most people have, right? Logan says you mean plus-sized opportunities. I think I meant fat opportunities, Logan. Will German stocks be implemented into trade vision? Oh, hang on. I think I know what's going on with the audio. We're hitting audio limits. That's probably what it is. German stocks, I would say never. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, we're thinking about doing that. We're a bit too loud. That's really the problem, I think. Yeah, this should be a little bit better. So, how do you buy stocks and keep marriage together? You sit down together and you agree on your rules. And honestly, the most successful people I've coached over the years have been couples. Couples who invest together do tremendously well. Women are better risk managers, and it's a huge asset you have that you are not utilizing. So seriously, do it together. Join us on Thursday. Join us together and just say, hey, this is the thing that actually is going to get us to freedom. This is the thing that's going to allow us to not work and allow us to retire and actually do the things we want to be doing and what we're put on this planet for. So that's a little thing called money management. And everybody's a money manager. You are, I am, whether you want to be or not, because you spend all of your time practically earning money, and then you spend practically no time at all managing your money. And I want to change that. You actually don't need a lot of time to manage your money. About an hour a week is just fine. But most people don't put in the hour a week. And that's a huge, huge, huge opportunity that's missed, and that's lying there on the table for you to pick up. You don't let your wife go through your browser history. Yeah, you're funny, my friend. It depends on what you're looking at. Is it all penny stocks? Is it? So Archer absolutely flying up here to 1160, which looks very, very good. How is Grab doing? And we were just looking at, and we look at some of our favorite stocks as well. It's up 7% right now, which is pretty decent. Coming down a little bit here, but still pretty decent. Let's have a look at some of our favorite stocks out there. Palantir, I hear somebody screaming. SoFi is up 5%. Yeah, pre-market was very good. Let's see where it settles. I don't want to be a bear on that, but Palantir is at $122. I mean, this thing only knows one direction, right? Then we have SoFi. Nice. Approaching the $17 resistance line here inside Trade Vision, which if you haven't got yourself a free trial for yet, do, because it's insanely useful. And we've got some amazing stuff. By the way, we put the roadmap to Trade Vision out here now. It's there in the top. We're going to move it to somewhere else, but there's a link down below. And you can literally see, I'm promising you something that isn't showing now, right? Is that loading? Yeah, here we go. You can see what we got coming up with actual release dates here, and then you can also see what we're working on next. You can vote on them as well just by clicking on stuff, and then you can also suggest things. Just give us feedback, and we'll add it to the list, and we'll put it in there, and you'll see just how much stuff we're going to be launching, which will be tremendous amount. So pretty much every single feature we've ever built is a suggestion from one of you guys. So we're building this really for you. But look at that nice consolidation pattern there. In my opinion, that's going to break out at some point. Let's have a look at our friend Tesla then. Drew says Trade Vision is awesome. Thanks, Drew. I'm glad you're getting some good value out of that. So come and join Drew at felixprehn.org/Trade Vision and play it out. Scott, you got some covered calls, have you, on Palantir? That's an odd choice, my friend. It's an odd choice of a setup, isn't it? Isn't it a bit of an odd one? Such a volatile stock? Well, I don't know where you set them. But yeah, it just keeps going up and up and up. Tesla, I'd say consolidating. That's really what I'd be saying. NVDA, have a look. HIMS, yes, I think that's another one that's definitely worth looking at. And Scott says, I know. It's easy in hindsight, isn't it? Sure, it was a brilliant idea at the time. NVIDIA looking pretty good here, up 3% in the first minutes of the day. Do I always sell it at a certain percent profit up? No, because then you're going to miss out on all the beautiful rallies, right? Say you got into HIMS, down here at $17. Why would you have sold it at 25, right? When it's trading at 44 right now. You want to let the winners run, but you still want to have a safety net in place so that when it does turn, you get out with a profit. That's one of the most important things, that we don't let winners become losers. Actually, it's trading at 58. I'm sorry, it's gone up even more. So this is definitely one, again, breakout 2 days ago there. We're going to get a little bit of this sort of dip thing, probably. That's usually what happens after a breakout. And then it's probably going to go up some more. Bernie thinks Tesla is cooked. Well, let's have a chat in 6 months. Huilam, we're in the chart view for the watch list. Yeah, we're doing exactly that, my friend, and that's on the list. Nicholas wants to know what Scott's talking about. Scott's been studying for a while, so he's a very smart chap, and he's making a lot of money. And you get rewarded for putting in a little bit of work. Not a lot of work, but a little bit of work. He says, Nicholas, join the Goat Academy and fast path it. Exactly. In fact, Scott could send you a referral link. Scott, you should make use of that. Baba is unstoppable. Well, we'll see about that. ACHR just jumped up. Yeah, absolutely. Tesla is cooking. Tesla is to get back to that story. They are rumored to be putting out the Model Q, which is the cheap Tesla, in the second quarter, and I also expect robotaxis to kick in the summer, and then I expect to see some Optimus robots before the end of the year. So if that doesn't get people excited, I don't know what will. You just have to ignore all this noise around Elon and all this politics and all this bollocks. I mean, I don't really. You can hate Trump, you can hate Elon. I totally get that. People have different opinions, but I don't understand why you like fraud. I don't. So I think at the moment they're slashing fraud, right? If they get rid of programs that you think they should keep, totally get it. But at the moment, there are 150-year-old people collecting Social Security. There are 300-year-old people collecting Social Security. Like George Washington, still getting Social Security, and his cat too. So that's an obvious just neglect/fraud job that they're solving and they're fixing. And I think it's a great example for the rest of the world to do the same thing. And I think it can mean that the entire world can lower taxes, which means people have more of their money left over, which means people are more motivated, they have a better life. Stock market goes up because they go spend it on stuff they don't need, and the rich get a lot richer. That's the way it's going to work out. I think. Brent, I saw that sad. You mean the 300-year-old people claiming Social Security? Yeah, it's obviously just baffling, isn't it? Tobias, would it make sense to display how heavy the support resistance line is? Yeah, I think that'd be it's a great idea. I agree with you. I think we could maybe have some sort of weighing or the thickness of the line or something like that. Generally speaking, this works best for the most heavily traded stocks, the ones with the highest volume. So for Tesla, it works pretty well. But yeah, it's an interesting idea, my friend. Takes a fraudster to get rid of a fraudster. That's a strange mindset, my friend. It's a very odd mindset, K&H. Where does that come from? What do you think? Really? You think that? I don't get it. I don't get where that's coming from. Is Friday afternoon the best time to put money into ETFs? The best time to put money into the market is yesterday. Second best time is today. Don't wait. That's what I would generally say. Intel. Well, I think he's getting the Taiwanese to take over some of the Intel factories because Intel doesn't know where they are. The Intel management is, still trying to find the boardroom, I think, and that's giving them a little bit of a run there for their money. What happened to my volume? My volume charts disappeared. Let me hit refresh. I think these stocks, Intel and AMD, will at some point recover. Here we go. Volume is back. This looks pretty promising. I agree with you on that. It looks like a promising setup. Let me just put a moving average line in here. There's the 150. Yeah, we're broken through that. So we've now taken out this sort of zone here. So yeah, this actually starts to look like a breakout. I agree with you. Volume is pretty impressive. So this could be an interesting one to watch. And we probably go up to at least $30 there, which is not too bad. Earnings are behind us. So yeah, this is the story that basically the Taiwanese might take over some of the Intel factories in the US so that, they can actually build stuff. Trade Vision's a little fruity this morning, Jorman. Okay, thanks for letting us know. We will fix it. We'll improve it as we always do. And you can now leave us feedback, by the way, as well. If you see something, it's in the top right corner up there. And there is a feedback and product roadmap thing now, which is, I think, going to be super useful. So you can see what we're building. Here, you can see exactly when we're coming out with new features, but you can also leave us feedback or what you want to see. You can upvote stuff, a lot of stuff on there. But yeah, you can post an idea or a bug, literally just write it out. I think you can attach a screenshot to somewhere or just put a link to it. Actually, you can even attach a video, apparently. And then we'll get straight onto it. That's really the whole point of it. So thanks, guys, for all your good feedback there on Trade Vision. Logan says, thanks for the roadmap. Yeah, I think it's going to be nice. It just means you are a little bit more involved in what we're actually building out there, which is really the chance. Meta has been on a run, right, for 20 days. Let me just see what's going on up there. It's a percent down. Did someone just say it's crashing? I mean, guys, leave the crazy headlines to me. That still looks pretty good. It's down a percentage point. I wouldn't worry about that too much. SMIC is going crazy. Well, they are the people who are meant to take over the SMCI, you mean, right? Yeah, I see what you mean. There's something funky going on here this morning with charts loading. We'll get onto that. That's up 14%. Whoopie-doo-doo-da. Looks pretty good. Yeah, it looks pretty good. So it's actually almost the same chart as Intel, isn't it? So that story is still going on. Fernando says PGI is breaking out. I'm going to make a little note here. This is how I keep note. Intel is definitely worth looking at. I'm not saying you should buy it. What is Pagaya Technologies Limited? Never heard of it, but it's going up a lot. Pretty freaking volatile stock though. See those zigzags there? Very volatile. Yeah, I don't love that it keeps doing these spikes and then collapses. And I'm not really in love with that particular pattern, but yeah, it's pretty good. Again, my volume's disappeared here. I think somebody's running some updates. Yeah, volume pretty impressive for the first 15 minutes of the day. True. Somebody mentioning there, they make AI fruit, do they? Can you add implied volatility history in Trade Vision? Yeah, that's one of the features coming up. If you look on the roadmap, we're working on that one. David, you keep mentioning Meta. I just looked at Meta. Shouldn't Intel be marked as a breakout? It looks like one to me too. We are on the side of caution, and we also only run the scanner at midday in the end of the day. Otherwise, you get too many flags because things move too much. So we kind of wait for a little bit of volume there. What did I just miss? RX. You keep seeing this here. Recursion Pharmaceuticals. Also up 15%. Very nice. And yeah, I'd say that there on Friday is also quite a nice little breakout. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Sort of textbook, really, isn't it? Textbook kind of thing. For those of you guys who've been to watched a masterclass of mine, you will understand what I'm talking about, right? Pretty textbook stuff. So come and learn why I'm drawing that squiggly line there and why this, in my opinion, was a good entry point to this. Looking pretty impressive there today as well. I'm going to have to add that to my little list to look at today. RX. Palantir isn't tanking. No, it isn't, is it? What about Arista? Had a bit of a fallback, didn't it? No, it's below the 50-day moving average line. I don't really see it. So I think that's, yeah, not the place where I buy. What happened with the whole DeepSeek thing? Yeah, good question, really. Who knows what's right and wrong on that one? I think the reality is that big American companies are going to keep spending money on AI chips, and big American companies are going to use American AI. So I don't really see the big deal, to be honest with you. I don't think the big market for Microsoft or Amazon is, Chinese financial institutions or something. So I don't think it's really a big deal. Grab's up 10%. Yeah, which is what we talked about it early on. Some of you throwing on some other tickers here. Would you stay in PayPal and SoFi? Well, SoFi looks pretty good to me. PayPal needs a bit of a kick up the backside because that's not looking too great, and it's again down just a little bit today. Let's see where it is. So it's just kind of lingering slightly below the 150. So not a happy place for PayPal stock. There's an investor day coming up that could change things a little bit, but it's not looking too good at the moment. I think Palantir is going to reach $1,000. Eventually, yes, but not in the next year or two. No, I don't think that the valuation would be far too insane. Eventually, inflation will make sure that they do, but it'll take a while. Archer drop is scaring you? Well, honestly, if a stock movement of, well, it's up 6%, if that scares you, it's maybe not the stock for your stomach lining, and that's completely fine, by the way. This is a very volatile stock. This thing is going to go up and down 10% within days, so you need to kind of be okay with that. And if you're not, that's also okay, by the way. Like, don't have FOMO. You don't need to be in everything. This may or may not perform. Not every stock does. I'm still quite liking the setup at the moment. Alrighty, my friends. So there we are. So come and join me on Thursday, but only if you want to make 2025 your best year yet, and only if you want to learn literally what I think is the best single trade in the world that I have on all the time, and allows us to make money when the market goes up and down. If you have an interest in learning that, then come and join me. Sign up at felixprehn.org/webinar. We'll have spots for 1,000 people. And that sounds like a lot, but that'll go very, very, very quickly. So head over to felixprehn.org/webinar, grab yourself a completely free seat, pencil 2 hours into your calendar, bring some popcorn and a notepad, and be on time. And I'll see you over there, felixprehn.org/webinar, Thursday morning, 10 a.m. New York time. And I wish you a beautiful, marvelous day. All the best.